Hello, my students. Welcome to another episode of MathMeowTics. So I'm going to talk about, in this episode, the previous episode, we talked about linear inequalities. Now we're going to take it a step further and talk about systems of linear inequalities. All right? When we're dealing with systems of linear inequalities, we can graph the solution to a system of linear inequalities in the coordinate plane. And the graph of the system is the region where the graphs of the individuals' inequalities overlap. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. I'm going to talk about this first problem here in problem number 1. All right, and in this problem, we have two inequalities. My first inequality is y is less than 2x minus 3. My y-intercept is negative 3. My m is 2. My m is that coefficient with x. So I'm going to go to negative 3 on the y-axis, and I'm going to put my dot. I'm going to start at 0, go down to negative 3 on the y-axis. Let me label my y-axis and my x-axis. All right. Now my slope is 2 over 1. I'm going to rise up along the y-axis 2 units, so 1 and 2. And then I'm going to go right 1 unit. Okay, pretty straightforward and simple. Let me erase those marks just so that I can have it nice and pretty. All right, so I'm going up 2 units, right 1, up 2 units, right 1, up 2 units, right 1, up 2 units, right 1. I'm out of the graph, so I'm going to go back to where I began and go the opposite direction. So I'm going to go down to left 1, down to left 1. All right, now my inequality is a less than symbol, so that means that my line should be dashed or dotted. Okay, that means that the solution in my boundary line, if it falls under this boundary line, it will not be true. Okay, now I'm going to shade it, and I'm going to shade below. Okay, I'm going to shade on the bottom half of my graph. Now the other way again, I'm going to check just to be sure. When your symbol is less than or it's less than or equal to, we're going to shade below. If it's greater than or equal to, we're going to shade above the graph. But it's going to be easier for us to denote which side of the graph to shade on if we talk about a coordinate point. I'm going to talk about the easy coordinate point for me to talk about is that point right there in the graph, 0, 0, that origin. Okay? When I'm talking about my origin, I can plug in that value. So I have x, that is a coordinate pair or ordered pair. I have an x and a y value. So I'm going to plug that into my inequality. So in the place of y, I'm going to plug 0, less than 2 times 0, minus 3. So I'm going to have 0 is less than 2 times 0 is 0, so negative 3. Is 0 less than negative 3? No, it's false. So if it's not true, if it's false, that means that that can't be a solution to this inequality here that we're given. Whoops, I don't know why I did that. All right, it can't be a solution to this inequality. So that means that it shouldn't be shaded because we're shading only the regions that are solutions. Now, I've shaded my first graph, and I'm going to go ahead and label it here so that I know which graph we're talking about. And then I'm going to change my color for my next graph. Let's go with a dark blue. So we're going to go with blue, and we're going to go with white for our fill color. All right, so I'm going to talk about this graph, and I'm going to go down here. So I have 2x plus y is greater than 2. I need to isolate y in order to graph this. So my y is the value right there. So I'm going to subtract 2x, subtract 2x. So then on this side, I'm left with y is greater than negative 2x plus 2. So my b is 2. My m, my slope, is negative 2 over 1. So I'm going to go to my graph, and I'm going to go to positive 2. That's right there. And I'm going to go down. So instead of rising, since it's negative, I'm going to rise down, and then go right 1. Rise down, right 1. Rise down, right 1. Rise down, right 1. Now I ran out of room, so I'm going to go back the other way. So I'm going to go up 1, left 1. Up 2, left 2. Now again, my line, I don't have a slash underneath, so my line is going to be dotted. So I'm going to dot my line here, or dash. Okay. Now, my inequality symbol is going to the right, so that's going to tell me that I need to shade above. So I'm going to pick this color here, and I'm going to shade. Now, here's the important thing to notice. All of the solutions to the system, and a system of inequality being the two inequalities for both. So that means that any point that lies in this area where the shaded regions overlap are going to make this inequality, both inequalities, true. So if I were to talk about this point over here, and let that point is the point 2, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the coordinate point 2, 5. Okay, right there, that is the coordinate point 2, 5. That coordinate point there is only true for this point 2x plus y greater than 2. It's not true for the inequality y is less than 2x minus 3. But if I were to pick this point here, that's in the area that both of the shaded regions have overlapped each other, that will be true. This point there is the coordinate point 1, 2, 3, comma 0. The coordinate point 3, 0 will be true for both inequalities. So it'll be true for the system of the inequalities. Now, I'll also like to comment again, if it lies, say, here on the line itself, anywhere on this line, the dashed line itself, or even down here on this dashed line itself, it will still not be a solution to the system because it's a dashed line. Even though it's in the shaded region, because it's lying on the dashed line, which means that any point that's on that line is not a solution to that inequality. So therefore, it's not going to be a solution to the system. All right? And that will be the end of this video. I will see you in the next video where I will go over a little bit more. All right? Thank you very much. See you in the next video.